I welcome you all with love. And today I want to talk about something it's kind of hard to talk about, which is hysteria. And what we're seeing with not just COVID-19, but just how we're approaching life in America and maybe life in the world, is that we're operating in a way that we're hyper-reacting. Everything becomes a crisis. I'm looking at the COVID, and I've been putting out a lot of information on it in my newsletter, but I'm seeing that this is not exactly the crisis level we've been talking about. You know, that's going on in the media, going around the world. I kind of have to wonder, what's going on? Why is this being so hyped? I mean, we've had so many waves of viruses coming through, and most of them are more lethal than COVID-19. In fact, pretty much all of them are more lethal than COVID-19. What's happening? And then we have a variety of reactions we have to whatever is happening in the world. People are reacting. It's like there's fear. There's hysteria, which is kind of like you're losing your mind. So I'm kind of looking at another level. Like, is this some exercise in losing your mind so we can be controlled? Are we losing our center? Are we so uncentered that the slightest thing is tipping us over? That gets me concerned. And I know what the antidote is, actually. Besides turning off all your media, which is, I'm not necessarily suggesting that, is getting in touch with who we are inside. When we're meditating and we're praying, it changes the whole story because we tap into the inner peace. And when you know, in the place of inner peace, in a deeper way, and this is more of a spiritual way of talking about it, is nothing has ever happened, nothing is happening, and nothing's ever going to happen. So that takes us into what I call the timeless understanding of who we are as spiritual beings. But with that in the background, it gives us an advantage of how to relate to what's happening in the world. Because we're no longer at effect of hysteria. We're no longer being controlled by the media, and those who control the media, we're able to step back and keep a clear mind and a quiet body and a calm heart and look at things with a lot more accuracy rather than the lens of hysteria. So the key, and as I'm trying to look at what's going on in society, is beginning to go back inside rather than relate our life as to what's happening in the outside. Because the truth is, from a spiritual point of view, what's happening on the outside is secondary, the deeper truth of what's happening on the inside. So I really bless every people to go back inside, to start meditating, start praying, and touch in with that inner peace, which is the real antidote to hysteria. It's the real antidote to fear. It brings us to the place of love and oneness rather than separation, hate, hysteria, and fear. So as we're being manipulated, and it's very clear we are being manipulated by the media in general and by our own minds as we allowed them to be programmed, we have the opportunity to stop that external control and come back into internal control of our life and of our spirit and of our hearts. May everyone be blessed that we're able to come back to the truth of who we are, and from that place make clear, harmonious decisions of how we're going to live our life and how we can help other people to come back to their own center, to get back in touch with their soul. And I'm going to point out this way. Hysteria removes us from being in touch with our soul. That's just another way of understanding it. Fear takes us away from our soul. When we're in touch with our soul, we're in touch with the divine. And when we're in touch with the divine, we see the oneness of everything. May everyone be blessed that we truly can come back into the state of that oneness and be untouched by the mass hysteria that's being generated and by the mass fear. And that way, not only are we a help to ourselves, but we become a help to all of society. Peace be with you on the deepest level. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om and Takyo Asin. Amen. Aho.